Man, what
Ever.
a great question. I'm less than 10 years removed from not talking about
You're done with work. Do you watch Netflix? What do you do when it's time to chill?
It's been a little bit. First off, there's nothing wrong with it, but for me personally, I don't like putting that stuff on social. I try and be private where I can. What's the alternative? Am I just gonna stand in the same exact spot for a year, 2 years and beyond? So when I meet people like that, I'm at a place now in my life, I'm very logical. I'm like, all right, if there's a problem, I don't got time to be emotional. I think before I had a bit of a victim mindset of like, why now? Why is this happening? Or why am I going through this? And now I've adopted this mindset of, okay, what is this situation trying to teach me?
It's just a different vibe,
Right. I mean, so what's funny about that is,
what's up?
Life of a hustler, gotta do it for mother, gotta do it for father, even though he act like a sucker. Life of a hustler, gotta do it for granny, gotta do it for brothers, even if they think I don't love them, been getting active and hustling.
Back with another episode of the More Action Podcast. We here at Podcast Summit 2025. Here with my man Marvin, Francois. I want him to go ahead and introduce himself before we get into this interview. Go ahead, man.
What's going on, champion? What's going on to each and every single one of you guys as well? My name is Marvin Francois. I am the CEO of Takeoff Financial and the host of the Marvin Francois Show, your number one source for all things business, finance, and investing. And I'm extremely excited to be here with you on your platform, man.
I appreciate it, man. We had a really good conversation last year. I'm telling you, I got like at least five friends that watched it and really internalized the information you gave. So, this time I kind of just want to talk to you because, last time you was giving us all the gems about credit and everything.
Yep.
But, how's life been for you outside of, credit and your teachings and your interviews?
Life has been remarkable. I think in this past year from when we last met till now, I've learned so much about myself, about where I thought I wanted to get to, and getting clarity on what success really looks like for me, what's truly important. From things around family to my walk in faith as a man as a Christian man to entrepreneurship and beyond. But it's been great. I think the biggest thing that I've learned through it all, and I don't know if I want to get too spiritual here, but it all starts and ends with my walk with Christ, right, and the relationship that I have with Him. And I think through me hyper focusing on that and building my relationship with Him, my walk in it, and my strength and my faith, it's made everything else not easy but easier. Does that make sense? To where I look at adversity and trial and tribulations way different than I did before. I think before I had a bit of a victim mindset of like, why now? Why is this happening? Or why am I going through this? And now I've adopted this mindset of, okay, what is this situation trying to teach me? What is the situation preparing me for? What is the situation or this tough time molding me into? Because in the Bible, it talks about, all things that Christ does is for a greater good. Well, if that's the case, that means this tough time, although I don't enjoy going through it in real time, it's sharpening me and preparing me for something far greater than I could ever imagine. So it just gives me a sense of peace now whenever tough times come. I actually embrace trial and tribulation now and adversity become like, okay, great. Something good is going to come out of this. I don't know if it's going to happen in a month, in 3 months, 6 months. It may not even happen this year, but something is going to happen as long as I continue to weather whatever that storm is, stay the course and stay faithful. And I think that's kind of trickled into all the different arenas of my life.
That's what's up, man. Yeah. That's a really good mindset to have too.
Yeah.
And it honestly makes me think about the people that are nowhere near that level of thinking. Mm-hmm. Let's say you come across somebody like that that's a fan of yours, maybe a coworker. Do you take the time to try to explain that to them and try to bring them into that mindset, or do you kind of just, exit the situation if it's not vibing? Like, what type of person are you,
I think for me, I have a friend of mine who's a content creator. He's a comedian, and he has a quote that I love. Shout out to my guy, the Chiseled Adonis. So he has a quote that I love where he says, what's the alternative? Okay. And I love that quote so much because on top of, my walk in faith helping me to deal with difficult times a lot better now, I love that quote a lot because it's like when you find yourself in a difficult situation, you really only have a set of options. Maybe one option, two options, three options, whatever it may be. But if you're in a tough time, I can sit here and complain. I could sit here and fuss and pout about things not being the way that I want it to be. Or I could sit here and just continue to weather through it, because if I don't weather through it, what's the alternative? Am I just going to stand in the same exact spot for a year, 2 years and beyond? So when I meet people like that, I'm at a place now in my life, I'm very logical. I'm like, all right, if there's a problem, I don't got time to be emotional, right? What are the solutions here that we have to go through? So whenever I have somebody that's coming to me and dealing with something like that, whether they're coming to me for counsel or they're just venting, I go straight to, okay, what's on the table here? We have 1 option, 2 options, or 3 options, because either we're going to solve whatever this thing is and work our way through it, or what's the alternative? We're just going to sit here and just cry and complain, and our situation isn't going to change. So I think, for me, I'm the kind of person where if you coming to me and you just looking for a shoulder to cry on, I'm not your guy. I am the solution oriented, like, yo, bro, let's speed this thing up. Let's figure this thing out so we can get to the other side of it. So yeah.
That's what the world needs, man. Do you have that same mindset in the gym? You know, I've been watching, man. You post so consistently in the gym. I know you didn't fucking pack on 10 pounds of muscle. Something. What's up with that? How's your weights journey in the gym?
Yeah, so it's fun. It's at a point now. I didn't realize how much of an impact that was going to have. It's to a point now, whenever I meet people, whether it's for the first time or second time or just running, that's the first thing they want to talk about. It's like, yo, what made you start working out? What's going on? I see you in the
gym.
It's a
whole nother side of you, man. Because we honestly, myself and plenty of the people that I've talked to about you, see you as that interviewer, the master interviewer, the guy who asked the questions they weren't expecting, gets the guests that we weren't ready to expect to see on your show. And it's like, now all of a sudden you're pretty much motivating us to work out. You know, it's just a different vibe. You know. So.
Right. I mean, so what's funny about that is, the funny story about that, when I first moved out of my mom's house, I was 160 pounds, and then when I moved into my new spot that I'm currently at now, like within the first couple of months of me being there, I had a physical to go do like a checkup.
Okay.
So I go do the checkup, and at a checkup they do blood work, urine, they weigh you, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
When they weighed me, they was like, hey, you're 145. I'm like, that's odd. But mind you, I've been 160 for like the last 5-6 years or whatever it may be.
So that was a surprise.
So when I heard 145, my first thought was like, I'm sick. I'm about to die. It's over. Somebody write a will. I'm going under.
No, not that.
Bro, literally, because I'm like, I've been 160 for so long, and I don't work out. Like, I didn't do anything at the time. So I was trying to figure out like where this drastic weight loss came from. Mm-hmm. But then when I sat down and I put the pieces together, I realized I come from a Haitian background.
Right.
In our culture, eating healthy is not really a very prevalent thing, but I didn't realize how big of a impact it was playing on my health until I left, lost all that weight, and people were actually noticing the weight loss way before I did, right? So it made me do some introspection and realize like I hadn't been taking good enough care of myself and my vessel as much as I want to. And the best ability is availability, right?
Yeah.
I could be a master marketer, or like you said, a master interviewer. I could be great at all these different things. What good is it if I'm not going to be here 10, 20, 30 years from now? It's not good at all, right? Moreover, I believe that how you do anything is how you do everything.
Right.
So for me, another reason why I started to kind of get into the gym space is because I said, if I can develop the commitment, the discipline, the consistency required to show up in the gym, that naturally is going to transition to everything else. Because you can't be somebody that's lazy when it comes to the gym, but then you're super hardworking in all the other arenas of your life. At least I don't believe so. And I noticed that when I did start taking the gym seriously, not only did it improve my physical health, but in turn affected all the other arenas of my life as well. Business got better because I was showing up with a clearer mind. I was showing up razor focused, right? And I just felt better, right? And my energy exuded onto my team members who were like, okay, well, damn, if Marvin's coming in on 10, I'm on 10 too, right?
For sure.
So it's been a very transformational journey. I'm happy it's affecting, or as many people as noticing as it. I just started posting because I was just like, yo, I don't post it on my story.
Hey, I hear you, but it's working because like you said before, when you face trials and tribulations, you actually look at it as a blessing now. You're like, what can I learn from this?
Yep.
When you go to the gym, when most people go to the gym, they look at those weights as trials and tribulations. They're like, they don't want to think about the solution, how they could just drop the weight. They could just stay in the gym and do what they can do instead of try to ego lift and end up leaving because, this is too much. The gym isn't for me. That's why I brought it up, because I feel like the way you're exposing how you are in the gym translates into how you're, treating trials and problems in your everyday life. So besides that, how are you getting these consistent interviews and guests, man? Because I know I wanted to talk about your personal life, but I got to take it back to the work, man.
Talk to me.
After Podcast Summit last year, I really noticed a kick in your channel, man. I swear, I'm looking. I see Runway Billionaire. I see Dion Copewood. I see Haitian. I'm like, man, it's just up.
Yeah.
And how did that start? Like, did you come up with a list on your own and then say, okay, I need to contact these people, or did you just run into them and kind of just piece it together like that.
So what's funny is I think the reason why my platform has been as successful as it's been up until this point, and why we're able to get the guests we get, is because of the work that goes into preparing for the interview, right? So when I first got into the space of just interviewing and podcasting, the first thing I did was I was like, okay, who are my competitors or contemporaries in the space, and what is one thing that they're not doing that I can start doing to set myself apart, so that if all 10 of us interview the same person, they're more than likely to remember my interview over the other 9, because I had the one thing that I did compared to theirs that made them go like, okay, no, Marvin show's a little bit different. For me, my separating factor was how I do my intros, which you've seen, right? I do very illustrious intros, where it's not just, if you watch most people's podcasts, right? And there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just how I separate myself. Most people, how they introduce the podcast is like, hey, you got my guy Marv here. Marv, what's going on? That's cool. That's fine. But for me, I was like, how can I create an intro to where when I finish saying it, you feel like you sit on a late night talk show and you ready to give away all the game, right?
That's so true, man. Hey, by the way, take a second, take a minute, take an hour. Go ahead and subscribe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some More Action Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to Marvin Francois. Just go ahead and do that. I just had to throw that in there real quick.
I love it. No, bro. I see what you did there. That was good. That was cool. Nah, bro, but that was it. To where it's like, if you watch my guests, like just look in their eyes after I finish doing the intro, every single time they're blown away because they don't get that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that paired with, to your point, how I frame the interviews, because I do a lot of, and I was just talking to a gentleman about this coming in here. I do a ridiculous amount of preparation for every interview I do, to where I want you need to, as a guest, know like, oh, he did his homework. Right? Because I'm also at a space now where people are flying in to sit down with me. What I look like having you get on a plane, fly across the country, you sit down with me, I'm not prepared to interview you. I'm like, so what you want to talk about? Like, no, that's not what this is. I need to be prepared. So I think the intro plus the level of preparation I put into the interviews, it's almost like a chain reaction, to where I do a really good interview for one person. Naturally, they're going to tell the rest of their network about it. Or if the conversation of podcasting comes up within their network, my name has to come up.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of had a wildfire effect, to where I really don't look for anybody. People looking for me. Which
it's at that point.
It's a blessing. To God be the glory, right? But I don't really like search for individuals. People come to me like, yo, I saw you did such and such podcast. How can I get on? And then if I'm treating every single interview like I did the last one, I'm giving it 100% preparation, and I'm putting together these great interviews, and my intros is A1 from day one, it just becomes a compounding effect, to where it's like, now all the high-level entrepreneurs have an understanding of, when we talk about the best podcast in the space, Marvin's name has to come up, because he's one of one. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that, and the proof is in the pudding. So,
yeah, for real. So you would say mentally, you kind of work from the end backwards.
100%.
You kind of vision yourself having that number one podcast, and just work from there. No, that's good. That's good. I just want to make sure everybody watching pays attention to that. You can't just have an idea. I want to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Start from the end. You want to be a millionaire? How exactly? Okay, cool. And now you can pretty much reverse engineer. Exactly. 100%. So you're talking about the gym. You're talking about your podcast. But what is it that Marvin does on his downtime? Like when you're done with work, do you watch Netflix? What do you do when it's time to chill, or are you just like no chill?
I'm laughing because if my lady is watching this, she's probably on the other end of the screen like, nothing. There is no chill. There is no free time.
You know that was gonna be my next question.
We gonna get there. We gonna get there, bro. I don't really have much things I do recreationally, which is not the best thing in the world. I know a lot of people talk about like, no, work 24/7, grind. I'm now starting to understand the power of having things you do outside of work and that give you that release. Once upon a time, I used to think, if I'm not working, I'm wasting time. But I think there are things that aren't necessarily work related that help work, right? Yeah. That allow you to refresh and decompress and take a step away. And I'm now starting to get into. So like now I'm getting into things like pickleball. Pickleball is very fun. I don't understand the rules. I just know that when one of us misses hitting the ball, I win. That's all I need to know.
Hey man, it's like, all right. You can teach me. I don't know nothing yet.
There you go. It's like pseudo. It's almost like. Have you ever played? No.
Nah, not yet.
It's like tennis, but with a different type of ball and a different type of racket. That's it. And different rules. That's all.
I have seen it. The court's smaller.
Yeah. Yep.
I know there's something called the kitchen. You gotta I think I've heard that term during the game, but I don't know.
Pickleball is up there. Swimming is up there. I'm big into physical activity, so anything that allows me to break a certain move around is cool. So pickleball, swimming. And then in terms of like more art stuff, I love going to a live comedy show. Love going to a live comedy show.
Oh yeah.
Yep, love movies is always a great one too. I'm not big on like I know some people like I don't know if this is a hobby or not. Some people are big on like napping. I'm not a napper. Like I really
Yeah.
don't like sleeping all that much. I don't like midday sleeps all that much. So anything that allows me to break a sweat and just separate from work and get my body moving, or allows me to just be entertained from just chill. Like I'm sitting, I'm chilling. Like comedy shows and movies. That's my stuff. That's my stuff.
That's really good, man. So you kind of gave it away.
Okay.
You know, you said my lady.
Yeah.
I was going to go into if you had a relationship going on or anything, because
Right.
we usually just see you.
Yep.
You know, you're interviewing or
Yeah.
posting, you know,
Yeah.
marketing or working out.
Mhm.
So how is the relationship going? Is that
Yeah.
new, or is this something that's been happening for a long time?
Man, what a question. What a question. What a question. At the time of the recording of this video, of this interview, I am in an interview, in a relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a little bit. First off, there's nothing wrong with it, but for me personally, I don't like putting that stuff on social. I try and be private where I can, just because like I feel like the more people know, the more they can kind of like, get in your business, and I really don't like that, which is why I don't show that side too much. I probably wouldn't, if I'm in a relationship with someone, you probably won't know until we at the altar. I'm like, yep, surprise.
Hey.
And then that's it.
There's nothing wrong with that, because another one of my favorite speakers, podcasters that I haven't met yet is Gary Vee.
Dope.
And I watched him for years. Didn't know he had kids. Didn't know he had a wife.
Yep.
And got remade. Like I honestly still don't know
Right.
exactly what's going on. So my question to you with that is,
Yep.
how do you post more than almost everyone and avoid all of the person? Like, you're very good at being consistent posting,
Right.
but you're also good at hiding what you want to hide.
Yeah.
That's the one excuse a lot of people have. They're like, man, what am I going to post about?
Right.
What am I going to, I don't want people knowing but that's exactly what you do. And not
100%.
only are you doing it, you're one of the top people, interviewing podcast. Come on, man. You're up there when it comes to interviewers, podcasts, credit mentorship.
Mhm.
It's honestly safe to say you're in the top 5. I mean, because I off the top of my head, I think about you, Herman Dulce, Smitty the GOAT,
Okay.
Dion Copewood.
Mhm.
I can't even. That's my top 4
Okay.
right there. So it's like
appreciate it.
you're online, you're very out there,
Right.
but you at the same time
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
expose everything.
Mhm.
How do you go about being consistent
Mhm.
and keeping the information?
I do a little bit. So I'll drop little hints and clues here and there that of things that I have going on in my personal life, like the gym stuff and like me being in a relationship. I just won't show who the person is, but my consistency really relies on the fact that most of the content I do post is all centered around what are my audience's problems and how can I create something that's going to help them either solve it, get clarity around it, or get one step closer to being where they want to be, right? And then from there, I think people, like when we talk about content creation, people overcomplicate it. For me, I've been answering the same 5 to 10 questions about funding and credit my entire time being in credit. The key is people think that they have to, every time they make a new piece of content, they have to unlock some new revelation about whatever space they're in. Right. The hack to creating content consistently is one, just making content that always answers a question or solves a problem that your audience has. And number 2, when you feel like you've created every piece of content or answered every question you can, find out how you can say the exact same thing, but in a different way. That's it. So that's what's allowed me to be as consistent as I've been up until this point. And it's something I still do here now.
That's really good, man. You gotta, pay attention to what you are posting, but at the same time, don't get lost and discouraged because you might be repeating yourself.
Facts.
That's what the people came to see. They probably forgot about it, with all the social media popping up on their feed. Mm-hmm. They might need that little refresher.
Yep.
So let's talk about podcasting tips, right? Because there's a lot of people who might want to teach, but they also might just want to talk and, get on camera. What would you say makes it comfortable for you? Because another thing I hear a lot of people say is I'm so comfortable on camera.
Right.
Like, is it just doing it over and over again, or is it like the setup? Do you think?
I think for me, I've been in public. For me, I have a little bit of a cheat code because I've been in public speaking my whole life. So when I was super young, I preached at my church a couple of times. I've done spoken word. I used to make music. I've also given speeches before when I was like middle school and high school. So I have a familiarity when it comes to getting in front of people. So doing that and then putting me in a studio room with like one other person and a couple mics, I'm not like, that's not hard for me. And I've also been creating content from very long as well. So I've always been speaking in front of either people or cameras for a very long time to where now I think a lot of the jitters I would be getting now if I was just starting, I kind of got out the way when I was younger. But if you're somebody who's watching this and you're new, I think it's really one of those things where you got to just get comfortable being uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Like if I told you that if you committed yourself to doing 50 podcasts, your life would never be the same and your business would 10x and all these other different things, would you make the commitment to do the uncomfortable work of just sitting in front of a camera for 1 hour and asking a person a series of questions that'll provide value to your audience? You'd be a fool to say no, right?
Yeah,
Regardless of how uncomfortable it is.
That's a good point.
But I think for most people, it's less about the uncomfortability of getting in front of the camera, and it's more so about they don't even know what's on the other side of the thing that they're so hesitant about doing. Mm-hmm. There's somebody right now who should have a top 5 podcast and has been telling themselves, I'll film the first episode next week, and I'll film it the week after that, I'll film it the week after that. And we're never going to find out about them. We'll never know who that person is because in their mind it's like, well, I'm not comfortable getting in front of the camera. So you're robbing yourself of your God-given ability and calling to get to whatever place you want to get to over something so minuscule, right? So that's what I think it is for me. I think if your goal is big enough, you'll be willing to do whatever is required of it. Even if it's something as simple as doing what we're doing right now, we're in front of the camera doing what we're doing.
You got to keep it simple sometimes. And that's what really makes it fun.
Right.
That's what makes it, okay, I want to do this again tomorrow. And I'm actually going to plan for next week. You know what I'm saying? Do you have any role models?
Role models? My pops.
Yeah.
My dad is my dog.
Any chance he does podcasting or anything like you?
If he does, I would be shocked. If I found out that my dad got a podcast on the low, first off, I'd laugh till tears is coming to my eyes. But then it's like, yo, what do you even talk about on there? Like
what? That's funny. That's cool. Go ahead, expand on that.
Yeah. My dad for sure. So my dad, he is in the construction and contracting space. So he does like a lot of home renovation and things like that. And the reason why he's my role model is I think in 2017, this was like a year removed from me, like a year and a half removed from me dropping out of school. I had no real direction. And I think he saw that and he pulled me in to start working with him in his company. We worked together for about 4 years, from 2017 to 2021. And it was the most transformative years of my life, like extremely transformative, because what happened was I'm over here running all throughout the tri-state area of New York with my dad. I'm at Home Depot 11 o'clock at night putting 50 sheets of sheetrock in the back of a truck. The next morning we're driving all the way to the Bronx. I'm over here carrying these 50 pounds of plaster and compound up and down the stairs by myself. Then I got to zoom over to this store. So that for me was so important because now, to the point that I was just making before, when we talk about hard work, me sitting down and asking somebody questions for an hour is not hard work.
Especially compared to what you just said. I mean, like you gotta sometimes look at where you came from,
bro.
Yeah, I understand.
There are times where I want to be lazy and I'm just like, man, I don't want to prepare for this pod or I don't want to make this piece of content, and then God will just give me a flashback. Like, remember that one time in the summer when you almost broke your back trying to lift up them 50 sheets of plywood? Let me cut this camera on. Let me go.
Cut the camera on.
Because bro, it's like it's night and day. Like so, and I think that was so. The reason why I say my dad is my role model in that regard is because I did that for 4 years. He's been and still doing that now, and still shows up to the same level of intensity that he probably started with from years back. So for me, I can't see something like that and then now come to what I do and give 80% or 90% or say I'm gonna just kick it and take the day off. Like I feel like that's disrespectful to him. And the example he's still setting for me now. So I think he's definitely been my role model up until this point. He's been tremendous. I love him to death. That's my dog. And once again, if he has a podcast, that would be so funny, bro.
I'd love to watch it, man.
I'll watch it with you.
I've never met your dad, but I mean, I would watch it.
I'll
see
watch
what
it
he's about, because I'm actually working for a construction company now.
Dope.
So it'd be pretty interesting to see what he has to say, how things are done in New York. You know, that's pretty cool.
100%.
But based off everything he just said, y'all need to understand that comparing yourself to others is where you can go wrong. What you need to do is compare yourself to yourself. You know, you got to see what you were doing and where you are now. If you feel like I'm not feeling it today, this might be, you know, annoying, just look back a couple of years. What you were doing was 10 times worse, and you probably don't even realize it.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? You're probably in a way better situation right now.
100%.
So that's really good information, man.
Thank you, brother.
I honestly want to talk about what you want to happen. Like for me, for example, you're inspiring me. Like I started my podcast, but we don't talk about the same things all the time. But let's say other podcasters that are younger, when they watch you, what would you say one thing is that you would want them to steal You know, like things that you would want them to emulate that you do right now.
Man,
would you like to see more of?
100%. I would say the understanding that the currency is in consistency. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people who are my age or younger, the ultimate goal in whatever they're doing, even if it's podcasting, is how can I get rich? How can I make money? Right? The currency is in the consistency. So people look at me, and that's why whenever people like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing, you're this, and I'm like, bro, I'm a regular dude. The one thing that I do ruthlessly, and I will do until I am physically incapable of doing it, is that I show up every single day. If you go on my Instagram right now, guarantee you, and you just watch me like a hawk from now to the end of time, rain, sleet, hail, snow, put me in a hospital bed, put me in a whatever. 3 posts are going up on Instagram every single day, and 1 podcast episode is going up every week on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check your local listings. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it doesn't matter if my last 20 podcast episodes did 500 views, if all the posts I'm putting up on Instagram are just tanking. Guess what I'm doing tomorrow? I'm posting another 3. Guess what I'm doing this week? I'm posting another podcast episode.
The level of intention, man.
Bro, but the reason why is because, and I think even David talked about it yesterday, I've had podcast episodes that when I dropped them in the first 3-4 months, they like, it almost seemed like they were tanking, and just the other day, like, started to finally pick up, right? I've had podcast episodes that did what I thought was underperformed, but then I'm meeting people in person, and those are the podcast episodes that they're telling me like, yo, this one changed my life. This one helped me to get started in real estate. This episode helped me to start my business and beyond. So I can't be in my head and sit here and think to myself, well, if I don't think this podcast episode's going to do 10,000, we just not going to upload this week. No. Yeah. I have a responsibility to my audience and to myself to show up, because I don't know how the seed that I'm planting today and a piece of content I'm putting out is going to bear fruit 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. So what I would say to anyone podcasting and then beyond, the currency is in consistency. You show up every day, you show up every week, whatever that number is for you. It don't got to be 3 like me, whether it's one podcast episode every other week or 1 post on Instagram every day. Write that number down, tattoo it, put it on your fridge, do what you got to do. Make a contract and make that commitment to yourself and say, no matter what happens, unless I am dead, these pieces of content is going up, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I promise you, 1 to 2 years from now, you're going to look up and you're not even going to recognize what's going on. That's what's happening for me right now. I know it's going to continue to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. There's somebody watching this that think he's just playing. He's just talking. Go check out his Instagram.
Bro,
go check out his YouTube. It's nonstop.
What time is it? It's right now. It's hold on. No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the next hour and a half, another post is going up. It's my 3rd and final post of the day is going up.
Go.
Come on, bro.
See, listen, you got to look at what you want to be. Okay? Get the blueprint from right here. Now, think 10 years down the line. You still talking about credit on your podcast, or you feel like switching it up?
Man, what a great question. I'm less than 10 years removed from not talking about credit on my podcast. I think for me, the long-term plan, I think entrepreneurship will always be a beacon of what I talk about, but I'm going to talk about it on a much broader scale at a certain point, to where now I'm able to sit down with people who have way larger brands that are larger than life, that we're still talking about business, but we're talking about all the other different things that are probably around it. So for example, I have dreams of being able to interview people like Mr. Beast. He's not in credit, but he's built a multi-hundred, 9-figure, possibly 10-figure media and content empire.
Very true.
Why wouldn't I want to sit down with somebody like that and learn about his mind and understanding around business and content? I would love to interview a dude like Kevin Hart. He ain't in credit.
Yeah,
right?
But you do love comedy, so that makes sense.
I love comedy, but more importantly, I love, from a business sense, what he's been able to do and his work ethic. Why wouldn't I want to sit across from a guy like that and get inspired from not only his story, but what he's doing now, and understand the psychology behind a lot of the moves he's making. And in turn, also ask him questions I know will help my audience as well. LeBron James, Jay-Z, Kai Cenat, he's another newer name. Like, these are a lot of individuals I want to speak with. They're not in credit, but they are crushing it right now in business. So I think 10 years down the line, getting to a point where my brand is so strong, it don't matter if I'm interviewing somebody in the credit space, LeBron James, or a tree trunk. You gonna watch, because you know it's gonna be a great episode.
So true.
And that's what we're working towards.
Okay, that's what's up, man. Now, when your preparation is happening and you're coming up with questions, I assume you come up with 5, 10, however many questions you come up with before the person even shows up. Have you ever been in the middle of a podcast and you read a question that you decided to ask and just skipped it?
Yeah, all the time. I'm at a point now. I'm at a point now where when I prepare for an interview, it's really just preparation for me to make sure I know who I'm sitting across. I don't marry myself. And I heard, I think the gentleman's name is Chris Van Vliet. He's an interviewer in the wrestling space, very niche.
Okay.
He's dominant. If you want to like understand, if anyone's watching this, if you want to see how to just conduct the interview, you actually do a really good job of this too, just conversationally. Guys like my guy here, guys like Chris, they are really, really good at it.
Appreciate it.
One of the things that Chris talks about a lot, and whenever he's mentoring other people who are trying to get into podcasting, you can't be married to your questions. Because I've had several instances where I come in an interview, I'm like, okay, I'm about to sit down with this person. We're going to talk about this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And the second they sit in that seat, they open up the interview. And I'm thinking we about to go here. They're like, yeah, so my grandmother died. And I'm just like, oh. Whoa. I thought we was, am I going to be an asshole and not act
But
like
the
she
camera's
just
already
say,
on.
Yeah,
So
am I going to act like she did not just say what she just said and just stick to the script? No, I got to. All right, we talk about grandma today. Let's talk about grandma and neat. Like what happened? Like, and then it becomes a whole other thing. So I've had several occasions where I in the moment, I'm sitting with the person and the conversation is flowing totally different than what I expected.
Right.
And I'm like, I have to be present and just have a conversation with the person across from me, not as the real estate, credit, stock, whatever, but as the human being that's looking to just be heard and tell a story today that maybe doesn't fit the framework of what I wanted to talk about.
Right.
That's what they wanted to talk about today. And I can't force you back over. You're like, no, let's talk about it. So yeah, it's happened countless times, and it's probably not going to stop happening, which is cool.
Hey, that trial was just another blessing in disguise.
Fact.
That happened,
There you go.
There
you
That's
go.
all it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I see with all of this, you must be dealing with a lot of people. Like, what's something that your pet peeve, that bugs you? Like, doesn't have to be just with people you're on a podcast with. It could be the person you ran into at Subway. If you're, walking through the store. What's a pet peeve of people that you're really irritated by as of late? Like, what's something that just pops up when I ask that question?
What's a pet peeve that I have? Do I have a pet peeve?
Something's got to annoy you.
I mean, I'm a very chill dude. I think for me, like, if there are things that annoy me, people that talk really loud in very in bad situations. So like I've had times where like I'm like at a conference and someone's speaking on stage and I'm speaking with a dude and he's speaking louder than the dude that's on stage. And I'm trying to tell him like, yo, I don't know if you know, there's 100 other people in this room. We could talk, but you're gonna have to learn how to whisper. He's like, yeah, man. I'm like, sir, this conversation is not gonna be going. And then he'll come down a little bit. He's like, you're right, I'm sorry. And then he'll volume up again, and I just have to like, all right, we can't keep this conversation going. That's one. And I feel bad because I know some people, they just can't help it. But I'm like, bro, you're not finna have everybody hit me with one of these, looking back at me like, y'all gonna shut up, or we gonna have to get up.
I wish I had a camera on both sides so you can see what his face just looked like.
So I would say that's a pet peeve. Is there anything else? Bad hygiene is one. I'm the type, I'll brush my teeth damn near 3 times before I leave the crib to go somewhere.
Okay.
I refuse to let someone tell me, like, to like sniff up in the air and look at me and be like, is that you? Is that you stinking like that?
This smelling in this place, it ain't me.
Yeah, is that you smell like? Nah, I can't. So
I hear you.
Yeah, bad hygiene is a big one. I'm not saying you got to smell great, but you can't smell bad either. Like that is, especially the individuals that like you smell a certain way, and those are the ones that's like they don't know personal space. So they all in your area. So the smell is like, not only you smelling it, but now you weren't wondering like, am I going to walk away?
See, this is the side of Marvin they don't see. People got to notice. If they meet you, imagine somebody meets you and they just went on a 10-mile run. Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't run up on them and try to get a hug, talk all in his face.
So give me a salute. Just give me a salute.
Pet peeves are important. 100%. Have you ever had to respectfully disrespect someone?
Respectfully disrespect? No.
Other than the guy that was talking too
loud. I've shouldered many conversations of bad breath. I've hugged many individuals with bad body odor because I'm just a nice person. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, unless I'm close to somebody, then it's not respectfully disrespecting them. If I know you and something's off, then I'll pull you to the side privately and be like, hey, by the way, just want you to know, it smell like cow's foot, and then just walk away, right? Yeah. That kind of thing. But if it's someone I don't know, like regardless of what it is, bad breath, I prefer, of course, for them not to smell that way, but it's not one of those things where I'm a make a scene because I don't love the idea of somebody walking away like, damn, that dude was an asshole. Because a lot of times people just don't know.
Yeah.
Or you don't know what happened to them that got them.
Personally, I feel like you have mastered communication, right? Certain things that you do is really just high level communicating, high level, empathy for what someone else is probably going through. Because growing up, I met almost everybody that I hung around, family. They would wait till people are around to tell you that, you got body odor or whatever has happened. Like it, literally. So people will go out of their way to put someone down. And in certain situations, you won't even bring it to light unless you pull them to the side. So where do you think that level of communication and empathy comes from? Because you're not on camera all the time. You don't have to be that way all the time. But where do you think that comes from? Is that something your dad gave you, or maybe you just developed throughout the years of podcasting and working hard?
I think my dad partially, but more so being I used to have very low emotional IQ. So what I mean by that is like I used to be so tied up in just what I want and only thinking about myself that I didn't know how to essentially navigate dealing with certain people. But being in a relationship, especially, and right? Because obviously you and your lovely missus behind the camera, when you're dealing with women, that teaches you as a man how to communicate a lot more effectively, because how I may talk to you is very different than how I may talk to a woman, obviously, because they're more emotional creatures. So I think that largely has played a tremendous role in me getting a lot better and more empathetic and understanding with people than what I've been up until this point.
Yeah, no, that's good, because like you just said, me and my fiance, we always have our ups and downs, but you're right. The way I talk to her and the way I resolve things with her would be way different than me resolving something with like one of my friends, my guy friends or anything like that. So that's really good, man. And personally, I think that when you take things that are happening in your personal life and you kind of bring them into your work life, it can overall be very peaceful. At the same time, when your work life or your personal life has a lot of negatives going on and then you try to transition to the other side, it kind of will stumble you. You know what I mean? Do you ever feel like something happened today at work or something that happened today at home and it actually is slowing me down, or it's actually making me feel like I can't finish or do what I got to do, and you still do it anyway?
All the time. But once again, I think that really just comes down to just one, discipline, and then also perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm the kind of person where it's just like I understand it every day that I get the opportunity to be above ground. Like, you really take a step back and look at life for what it really is. A lot of things really don't bother me as much as they used to anymore. I'm able to compartmentalize with a lot of different situations now way better than I used to, because like, bro, I might not be here tomorrow. So I'm not going to be, if I genuinely may go to sleep tonight and not wake up, what is it that I can do today to make the most of every single waking second of the day? Am I going to allow this 5-minute thing to get me under the weather? Am I going to allow myself to procrastinate and think to myself, well, because I'm not in the mood, I'm not going to do this thing? No, I'm going to give every ounce of my being I can to get as much from this day as I possibly can to make the most of it. And I think for me, operating in that frame of mind has played a tremendous role in why I've been able to just be so easygoing and very like chill, and like a lot of things just don't knock me off my rocker up until this point. So I'll say that's what it is for me.
That's what's up, man. You got any trips coming up?
Man,
anything planned?
Unless you know something I don't know. I mean, I've been in Atlanta more times these past couple of weeks at the time of the recording of this interview.
Right.
Than I would like to. They're trying to recruit me to come out here. It's never happening. I'm never going to go.
Really?
Never,
okay.
Ever.
Okay.
Atlanteans, if you're watching this, stop it. It's annoying. All right, I'm not coming here.
Does that mean you're staying in New York? Do you have do you have a dream place to live one day, or are you there right now?
I would love to try Texas, but I'm a family guy, so it's like I don't know anybody in Texas. So if I move out there,
you gotta take the family with you.
Gotta take the family with me, and my family is in no situation right now to be moving out to Texas. So I kind of have to thug out New York for a little bit, and not even just family, but a lot of close contemporaries of mine also live in that northeast tri-state area. So.
Right.
I'm pretty much gonna be here, and in terms of like travel and trips, one more Atlanta trip for InvestFest, and then I think that's pretty much it. Unless once again a business opportunity comes across the table, hopefully I can stay my black behind in the crib and keep working on my business, and they don't keep pulling me out. But if they do, I'm gonna show up regardless. But right now, not no trips.
Yeah, hey, listen. I've learned that you got to stay in the room. You got to be where the action is. And honestly, it looks like the action has been coming to you lately.
100%.
So one of these days, I'm going to get out there in New York. I'm going to get on your podcast.
Let's rock it.
Because you're doing amazing. I appreciate you talking to me, bro.
Always.
Had to loosen up a little bit, see what's going on in the personal side of life. We can't always talk about work And I just wanted to see the side of you, man.
Yeah.
You told me a couple things I didn't even expect you to say. So,
man,
I
appreciate
appreciate you, bro.
Most
and
definitely.
Until next time,
My guy.
This is More Action Podcast.
Well, wait, before you finish, I got to give you your flowers because the last time we sat down from this time, you were already solid at interviewing, but the progress you've made has been tremendous. Like, I can't do what you do, and that may sound crazy to you, but like, you came in here and just freestyled it. I can't freestyle. I need to prepare. But it's like, you not only do you come in here and you're having a conversation raw and in real time, but the questions you're asking are good questions. Like, this is not an easy thing that you're doing right here. I can't do this shit. So,
hey, I feel it. I watch what you do, and it's not easy to do that either. So I guess we're both in our lane
100%.
until we grow together, man.
But I want to tip my hat to you and what you're doing. The fact that you're here again another year, the fact that you're still consistently putting out content, and I see the growth that's happening in you. You're just as great an example as me to the individuals that watch your podcast because, once again, you are the blueprint. Like, what you're doing, the fact that you're locked, loaded, and ready with your phone, mic, sit down and interview whoever. Like, a lot of people don't understand how little things like this play a huge role in the long term of creating a foundation for success. So I love what you're doing. I'm honored anytime you ask me to be on your platform because I know that very, very soon this is going to be the premier platform in your respective space for people to come on. And I'm going to be excited to be able to look back and be like, see, y'all got to pay him $20,000 just for him to sit down with you for 5 minutes.
I'm telling you.
He used to interview me at Podcast Summit. You understand? So I'm very thankful.
I believe it, man.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it. My mom always said, you stay ready, you ain't got to be ready.
100%.
And this is an example of that. You know, we're going to get out of here. It's Podcast Summit 2025. Go ahead and tell them one more time about Takeoff Financial, where they can follow you on Instagram and all that. Yeah, for sure. So if you're watching this, if you love this podcast, then you're definitely going to love mine as well. And remember, it's collaboration over competition. So you got to choose between his podcast and my podcast. You got to watch them both, right? You get your two monitors, you put his on my screen, but mine on the other screen, and you just watch them simultaneously at the same time. If you're interested in watching my podcast, you go to YouTube, Marvin Francois. You'll be able to catch it every Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube channel, and then on Instagram at @MarvinFrancois_ as well. If you are an entrepreneur and you have good credit and you need to get access to $50,000 to $100,000 in capital, all you got to do is head over to funding.takeoffinancial.com so we can help you get access to funding. We do everything for you from top to bottom. You just got to kick your feet up and let us help you get access to the capital. Let's say you can't get access to the funding because your credit is shot. Head over to takeoffinancial.com where me and my team will help you get your credit restored on a month-by-month basis. Now, say you know nothing about credit, whether it be on the personal side or the business side, but you want to learn so you can start a business and get to where he's at or I'm at, you head over to my school page, which is Takeoff University, and join our community where we provide live coaching calls, we provide free workshops, we provide resources, tools, and course material you need to go from not knowing anything to having the foundation needed to take your business to the next level. That's pretty much it, bro. And that's what it is. Another episode of More Action Podcast. And until next time, take more action. Do something different. Peace.